It's 2004. You're a kid again, and your obsessions include elves, dwarves, magic, and fantasy, and masturbation. But what's this? There's a new game called World of Warcraft that just hit store shelves, and it has everything your heart desires. Maybe aside from the masturbation. Your mom drives you to the video game store and buys you the game form of crack cocaine, and you install it, and it's beautiful. Levels, skills, talents, gear, RPG, the genre of choice for friendless nerds from around the globe. Your real life sucks, so why not roleplay and get lost in, and the servers are down.
Oh, my precious.
It was torture. Minutes felt like hours, and hours felt like days. And that's because it was that good. And not just the game, but also the community. If you ask people what's their favorite thing about World of Warcraft in its classic state, a common answer will be the community. And it's true. It's before the time of cross-realm zoning and Dungeon Finder, Raid Finder, and WoW tokens. All of these tools that let you bypass critical social aspects of the game. It's in this category where many people believe that the game has regressed in the most, and those longing for a sense of community have found solace in the official recreation by Blizzard. Truly, it can be one of the best aspects of the game, and it can also be one of the worst. MMOs are complex because ultimately they rely on the community. I mean, just think about it. The gameplay, the classes, systems, and features, they all hinge around a multiplayer experience. There's an inherent competitiveness to everything you do. You have the obvious stuff like PvP, but even just gearing. You want the gear to make the fights easier, but also to do more damage than everyone else. You farm so you can have more gold to buy things from other players. You want that mount, not necessarily because it looks cool. You just want to flex on all of the other normies. Dungeons, raids, battlegrounds, trading, everything. It all hinges on a multiplayer experience. Just ask yourself, either for current or classic, if there were single-player games, would you still pay $15 a month for them? Maybe if all of your party or raid members were bots or something, so you could still do all of the content. In other words, LFR. The game itself is good, but to me, the fact that it's multiplayer gives more gravity and meaning to everything you do. Thus, the quality of any MMO, not just WoW, to me is ultimately dependent on the quality of that community. And with World of Warcraft specifically, as always, it's a mixed bag. You never know what you're gonna get. You reach in and pull back a candy, or a dog turd. Which leads me to my main point. The worst thing about classic World of Warcraft is the community. Starting with the PvP here, the classic PvP community is, and always will be, the classic PvP community. What you see is what you get. There are some great people, but there are also a lot of salty neckbeards. It's probably one of the most toxic in gaming history, and that's counting League of Legends. I gotta be careful here, because I have a lot of friends that I met through PvP, and they're great people, but they would agree with me, I think. I had to find them in a sea of negativity and relentless toxicity. The ego that people carry over what's ultimately pretty straightforward and simple PvP in a 15-year-old video game is pretty astounding. No one can just take the loss, both the enemy team and your team. If someone loses, it's not their fault or that they could have played better. No, there's this mystical external force stopping them from winning that's out of their control. The other team isn't good, they just got lucky. My teammates held me back. Well, they only won because they're in a pre-made. The reason we got farmed like ZF zombies in our den isn't because we suck. If I was in a pre-made, we'd mop the floor with these clowns. Oh, wait. Well, they cheated and they used consumes, in a PvP system that's balanced around consumes. They're playing a cheesy comp, they have more gear, the sun was in my eyes, my controller is broken. It's everyone's fault but my own. It reminds me of when I was 10 years old, playing Smash Brothers with my friends, and everyone would rage if they're getting their butt whooped. That's understandable. After all, we were 10 years old. But then you come to the dark realization that the primary age demographic for Classic aren't 10-year-olds. The primary age demographic for Classic are a bunch of aging 30-year-old boomers.
You think your skill in video games is as great as mine? Heh, think again, noob.
You ever hear the saying that the smallest dog barks the loudest? From my experience, the best players are usually the quiet ones. They know that they're good, so they don't need to proclaim it to the world. It's only the insecure ones who go out of their way to explain to everyone why they're in fact the most skilled players in existence, and how everyone pales in comparison to their awesomeness. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with banter, and shit-talking goes hand in hand with gaming, ever since the days of Xbox Live when it first came out. And you can't figure out how, but somehow, everyone has indeed made love to your mother.
Grasshopper's got his Xbox communicator, and so does Roadhog and Oilslick. And anyone else who's playing can use one too.
Yeah, kill yourself, I fucked your mother.
They just can't stand losing. It's like, gee, I just lost. I want this person to die. It just messes them on a level that's very deep. I just think that maybe when you're so catastrophically angry that you rage make level 1 alts, or you start doxing someone because they farmed more honor than you, is a little overboard. It really is just pathetic and embarrassing behavior, and the insecurity of the classic PvP community has reached biblical proportions. As I said in my rank 14 video, the PvP isn't the hard part, it's the politics. Let's talk about PvE. There's no denying it. The min-max culture has dominated the PvE community, and everything takes a back seat to efficiency. If there was a leaderboard for professional turd polishing, rest assured the classic community would be all over it. Since players can't find difficulty from the raids themselves, they find it instead in leaderboards. The game revolves around optimization, parsing, and e-penis size. The world buff meta reigns supreme. Many guilds either require it, or ostracize those who don't want to chase down world buffs for 3 hours and then raid log for 6 days. What? You don't want to sneak into Orgrimmar and then camp a buff for an hour and have a horde priest mind control you so you can get 15% melee haste for a 15-year-old raid? What a casual. It's one of the reasons why these raids are being cleared entirely on week 1. They weren't designed for players to have 50% critical strike chance. If this is what you enjoy, have a blast. I've dabbled in it here and there. Sometimes it's just fun to blast through these raids and see how you compare to the best of the best. And by the best of the best, I mean those who've mastered the art of using 2 abilities in their ultra-complex DPS rotations. That itself is fine, but it does leak over to other players in negative ways. Like I said, if you don't put in the sometimes several hours required to get these buffs, you're looked at as being lazy, or you're not trying hard enough. It can have a negative effect on the community in other ways too, even if you decide not to get them. When everyone devotes hours into getting these buffs, it makes things more toxic if you happen to wipe, which with the unpredictable and spiky nature of these boss fights can happen. In a normal raid, somebody pulls a boss by accident, you wipe, and well, run back, it's 10 minutes. But in the world buff meta, where collectively between these 40 people, hundreds of hours are wasted with one simple mistake, and people blow up.
This is bullshit. Everybody, people are pulling fucking aggro, and this is dumb. This is terrible. We just lost to fucking Magmadar. Magma-fucking Dar. Get your shit together. Yeah, everybody. And next time somebody goes down and starts bitching.
It creates a tense environment where you feel like you're walking on eggshells, deathly afraid of slipping up, lest you incur the wrath of the Turbo Nerd. The Turbo Nerd. An individual possessing enough nerd-like traits to qualify for turbo status. A turbo nerd pushes the envelope on social ineptness. Use extreme caution in the handling of turbo nerds. They can snap at any time. It also supports just not playing the game. The buffs obviously retain their duration when your character logs out, so naturally what'll happen is people will get world buffs, log out for 6 days, then raid, get world buffs, log out for 6 days, and rinse and repeat. Again, if that's what people like, that's what they like. I'm very much against gatekeeping how the game should or shouldn't be played. No one is saying, hey, you need to not put in as much effort and start sucking intentionally. It's just an important dynamic to bring up when discussing the community, because this min-max culture is something that's so prolific and classic in general. Raiding in current overall is way harder, but in terms of convenience, it's a cakewalk compared to classic. You want to raid? well, maybe bring a flask and some potions, and you're good to go. But in Classic, it becomes this huge time-consuming thing. You're globe-trotting zone to zone, setting up head drops, enemy priest alts to mind control and reset, horde alts in out-of-bounds zones, and if you're on a PvP server with a whole dispelling meta, you feel like you're in Mission Impossible, where instead of sneaking past guys with guns, you're sneaking past nerds with too much time on their hands. When you talk about the PvE community, you gotta talk about loot. Competition creates scarcity, and scarcity creates drama. Combine this with the fact that these items being more unique, and the fact that you share them with 39 other people makes things extremely competitive. People go to great lengths to get those purples, and the drama that has spawned from loot disputes in Classic has been legendary, and has already claimed many guilds. Don't worry, this all happened back in the day, but now with the established meta of the game, I feel like it's more intense these days. Luckily for me, my guild has been pretty relaxed overall, but I lucked out. Already there are hundreds of videos and meltdowns, guilds disbanding, legendaries being ninja'd, people raging over not getting something. It's crazy. The loot in the game really does bring out the worst in people, and the things they'll do for it will surprise you. Witch hunts, harassment, doxing. There was a case on my server where someone ninja'd the Edgemaster's handguards, which was a highly sought after low-level purple. People caught wind of it, things got way out of control, and long story short, someone got a hold of his address and started sending threats. Luckily, all that happened, I think, was that he was sent a pizza, but still, with the advent of swatting, and with some of the crazy people within the Classic community, it's still pretty serious. And it's all for ninjing a level 44 purple, which he should be punished for in-game, not brigaded on a witch hunt by a bunch of angry neckbeards who've lost their grip on the real world. Or maybe the time where all the streamers were given the ultimatum: you're not allowed to roll on our server, or you'll be subject to the blacklist, an add-on which automatically cancels all trading, boots them from any group or guild, doesn't allow them to be healed or buffed, hides all of their auctions, blocks them from chatting, removes them from groups, and real-time announces their exact position to the enemy faction, and a whole ton of other stuff. And not just the streamer, but also their entire guilds, or even those who refused to download the add-on. This post was on the front page, by the way, and ooh, even a reward, nice. Truly, the community in Classic is what makes it special. Egos, which size are only matched by their fragility, are running rampant, and if you dare challenge them, you'll face the wrath of he who hasn't bathed in 2 weeks.
You haven't played on private servers for the past 7 years? Begone, peasant!
The bottom line is the same people who tout the grand community of Classic are the same ones who act this way, and it's sad. I feel like it's the elephant in the room, so to speak, of just how much of an unwelcoming and unpleasant place it can be sometimes. I think a lot of it comes from a place of passion. As bad as things can get with Classic, one thing I still feel is true is the extreme passion we collectively hold for the game. That's a good thing, but I also feel like it's an excuse used by those unable to control their emotions. It's like, oh, you want guild banks put into the game? I'm gonna kill your entire family. Oh, sorry. I'm just really passionate about the game, as you could tell. The best way to describe it is it's bipolar. There are plenty of great people playing, and if you happen to run into them, you'll have a lot of fun. But there are also a lot of bad apples, as you can tell, so it's kind of a roll of the dice, really. Overall, I'd say that the game has been doing well. If you like the Classic MMO style, with a ton of RPG elements and an actual community, it's the premier MMO in my opinion. Nothing matches it. You can really lose yourself in it, whether it be PvE or PvP, and it's just as addicting today as it was back in 04 to 07. But the only downside is the community. As good as it can be sometimes, it can also be equally bad, and you have to have a thick skin and some patience to be able to deal with the bants. Hopefully this video didn't come off as being too negative, but I didn't want to sugarcoat anything. You come to this channel wanting to know the state of the game, not somebody blowing smoke up your butt, so just like how we talk about the good, Sometimes we have to talk about the bad, and even the ugly. And if there's one thing you'll learn with Classic, it's that the ugly can get real ugly.
Farewell for now, mortals. We hope you enjoyed today's video. See you again soon.